Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Behind the Terminal. My name is Dinesh already. Today I'm going to show you another project. Basically this is project 2, but to understand this you'll have to see the project 1. I'll post the link in the description. So basically in the previous architecture we have hosted a web server in the EC2, and the EC2 is serving the files from the S3. All the web content is in the S3, but these two are in different accounts. So EC2 is in account B and S3 is in account A, and whatever the files in the S3 are actually sent from the local computer through Python script. So it's a very interesting project. Please have a look. And in this project, what I'm going to show you is, if you see here, I'm going to show you the architecture. So instead of EC2 serving the files from the S3, we will use the CloudFront. We'll go to the next step. So I'll share this template with you. You can always track if it is done, you just mark it done. So in every project I'm going to share this template with the code and everything. Okay, so currently now this is in progress. Better option is in progress now. Let me close this. Wow. So there's going to be another project. If you see here project 2, I'm getting ready with that project as well. So please subscribe so that you will not miss this very interesting projects. I'm telling you, it's worth watching these projects. Next, yeah, in the Python script we have sync to S3, where the files from the S3 will be synced to EC2. That was in the project 1. So what we will do, we will first upload the objects to the S3 first. We already have the S3 bucket from the previous project, but the bucket is empty. Now what we will do, I will upload the files to the same S3 bucket. Again, I will show you the S3 bucket. If you say currently we don't have any objects, now I will push the web content from my local computer to S3. Why am I having all the content in the local computer and pushing it to S3 is because I want to show you that Python script is always making the content in the S3 sync with the local computer. That's the whole idea. Okay, so the meaning is that whenever you change anything in the local computer, it will be sync with the S3. The same will be in sync with the CloudFront. Okay, so Python. So let me show you the script first. So this is a script. We have already discussed this script in the project 1. So please see the project 1. Python upload to S3 script. So in the script, meanwhile it is uploading, I'll just explain you briefly. So I have the local directory path. The path is this one. The website source files is a path. So what we are doing, we are using the os.walk function from the OS module, and we are walking through all the paths and subfolders in the particular folder. The folder is here in this folder, and it will upload all the files with the S3 path. We want the relative path, we don't want the absolute path, because S3 doesn't allow all your full complete path. So we had to trim all that. So for this better explanation, in detail explanation, watch the project 1. Okay, and we're just calling the function. We have provided the bucket name, and the bucket name is here, and the S3 client is the where we have the port 3. We are using port 3, and from the port 3 we are using S3 client. Okay, now the script is already executed. Now we will go and see if we got the objects here. Yes, we have all the objects here. Now what we need to do is we will launch the CloudFront, and in the CloudFront we'll select the distribution as S3. Okay, go here. In the CloudFront, create a CloudFront distribution, choose origin. So we are choosing the origin as S3. So in the S3 service we have only one bucket. That is the reason it is showing only one bucket. And optional origin path is optional. Keep origin access control settings, and here create new OAC and create new OAC. We have to select sign request. This is recommended for the S3. So rest everything will be same. You'll have to just update the bucket policy. I'll show you that. In the end, it will give the policy. You just have to copy the policy and update in the bucket policy for the S3 bucket. So keep this almost everything is same, and have caching optimized. And here you have to enable the do not enable the security protections for now. This will incur costs as well. We will see this option in the next video. Okay, and here this is the important part. You have three options here. Use all edge locations. It's going to give you the best performance, but it's going to incur cost more than the option this one. Like if you select only North America and Europe, it's going to cost less. So the more edge locations, the more cost. It's as simple as that. So now if you have this as a certificate, you can also upload this as a certificate, but we don't have it now, but we'll see all those options later. So for now, this is it. Create distribution. Now see, now it gives a policy like this. Just copy the policy and go to S3. Select S3 bucket, go to permissions, edit. So I think it's already the CloudFront policy only, but I'm just will have to update it. Now next, save changes. So what's happening here is the CloudFront is requesting S3 to serve the files, right? Now S3 also has to give the permission. So without the permission, explicit permissions, now CloudFront can't use the S3 service, and it can't serve the files from S3 bucket. So yeah, I think only for the S3 we have this explicit permissions, but whereas other services within the same AWS account, you don't need to explicitly give all these permissions. Now we'll go to CloudFront. Yeah, the CloudFront distribution is there, but I think it will take some time to deploy. So meanwhile, I'll pause the video. Now yeah, after some time the status is enabled. Now what we should do, we go here. Sorry, my son just disturbed me. Anyway, now take the CloudFront address, go here. Are you expecting it would work? No, because the problem is if you go to distributions, it is enabled, but if you go to S3 bucket, for example, if you check the index.html file, if you see the metadata, it is binary/octet string. So CloudFront is not actually reading the file as is. It's not reading the correct format because it is dependent on the metadata. So what we will do, whenever we don't have this problem with the web server. Web server will automatically read the file formats, but with the CloudFront distribution, if you are using it as a CDN, then you have to make sure the file formats are correct. So for index.html, it has to be text/html. For text.txt files, it has to be text/txt. For CSS, we have format like text/CSS. So we have like this. So to get here, we have to update our Python script, because why Python script? We have used Python script to upload the files to S3, right? So in the Python script, we have to make a small changes. Okay, we will just import MIME types. What happens here? This is a module. In this module, there is a function MIME types dot guess type. Okay, with this guess type, sorry, it's not guessed, guess type. So what this function will do, it will just check the format, and it will, based on the format, it will upload the files with the correct format. So what we will simply write, so basically I'll explain you. MIME types will give you tuple means it will give you two values. One is content type, and another one is it will give you the encoding. So content type is, we know the content type means it will consider the format, but the encoding is it will check if the file is compressed. If the file is compressed with tar, for example, it will consider that and it will show the value for the encoding as .tar, but for the content type it will show none. So let me explain this. For example, content type encoding equals to guess type, in the brackets will give example dot txt, let's say. Okay, now what will happen here? If it is txt, then it will return text slash txt. For the encoding, it will return none. Okay, this is what happens. Now it will give the value tuple. So tuple means value 1, value 2. What we will do, we can unpack the tuple. So unpacking means we can store this value in one variable and we can store this second value in another variable. Okay, so similarly, let's say if I have written index.html, so what happens here now? This will be text slash html. This will be none. But you'll have to understand one more method here, one more important point with the MIME types modules, especially when you're using guess type. Let's say if you are using some compressed file, backup dot tar dot gz. Okay, this is a format. Now what happens here? This will be application content type, application slash x star. This is the application name, and the encoding will be, it's a format zipped, right? So the encoding will be gzip. Okay, now let's say we don't want all these zip files in the S3. What we will do in Python, we can just ignore any value by underscore. So if you, this is content type, so when you use underscore, Python will ignore that value. Okay, so it will not consider, it will not check for the second value. So what is the second value? Second value is the compression, right? We don't want the compressions, we just want to check the file format. Okay, we will define a function get content type, and we will pass it as some variable file name. All files are stored in all files variable. If you see the first script where we have used for loop, where the os.walk is going through all the files in a particular folder and is picking up the file names. It will give three values. One is the directory path, and the second one is the all the subfolders path, and the third one is the file names, all the file names path in all the folders. Okay, the third attribute we are using here. So what we will do, we will just take content type, and as I said, we will ignore the second value here, equal to, and MIME types dot guess type. In that we will pass for file name. Okay, and we will say if get if content type means, if content type means in Python, if content type is truthy, means if there is any value other than 0, none, and no value, null, it will consider as truthy value. So if we get any type like .html, .css, .txt, then this function, if function is the first argument is considered as true. Then what we are saying, then we are just returning the value as content type only, exactly whatever the file format it says, we are just returning it. Else what we will do, else return the default we have, right, application octet stream, I think, yeah, string. Okay, this is a default function. You have to indent it properly in the VS Code. I'll show you there. Okay, so as usual, what we will do, we will store this value in a variable, and we'll call it as a extra args as the fourth argument. Previously we had only 3 arguments. This time we are also adding another argument which is called extra arg, where you can update the file's metadata also in the S3. So that is what we are going to do here. Now what we will do, now let's say content type is equal to get content type. We're just storing the function in a variable, get content type. Here we'll have to pass all files, right? We have all the files in this particular all files attribute, so we'll do that next. Now you'll have to update the my s3 client dot upload file function. We have 4 arguments this time. Local file path we have, and my bucket name, and s3 file path. And this time, this is important, we are having extra args where we can pass metadata arguments here. For example, content type equals to not get content type, just content type, because the get content type function is stored in content type variable, right? So this is what we'll do. We can also write cache control and everything, but we are not going to write the cache control. We will manually invalidate the cache in the CloudFront. Okay, this is what it is. Now so now you understood, right? Basically we are using the MIME module, and in the MIME types module we are using the what function, it was guest type function. So with the guest type we are just checking the file format and we are updating the same thing in the S3. So with these three arguments, if you want clear explanation, please watch the part 1. If you don't understand the project 1 or part 1, then you will not understand this project. So please go through that project. I've clearly explained line by line Python script in that. Okay, now what we will do, I'll show you the real script here. So what we are doing, so as I said, we can use this, we can write this, but instead of writing all this much code, we are just writing using the MIME types module. So just import the MIME types, and these three lines are same, and the same thing we are writing the get content type function. In the function we are just checking the if else. If the file name is truthy, then do this, otherwise just return application.octet stream, which is a default file format of the files. So this everything is already explained, so please check the project 1. So in the extracts, if you see the content type, I gave this variable has function here, this function is here. Okay, and we are ignoring the second part, which is the second value from the tuple, that is compression. Right, now we are just calling the function. It's very simple. If you see the first project, it is very simple. We are just adding the second fourth argument with the content type metadata, and this one is also useful because instead of you manually invalidating the cache, you can actually invalidate the cache directly here with this. So after 10 seconds all the files will be not in the cache. Only for the 10 seconds it will be in the cache, but the thing is, if the files are not changed or modified, it will still update the cache. So we don't want that. That is the reason we will just ignore this. Okay, so what we will do now, we already uploaded the files, right? We will remove the files now. AWS S3 remove. My bucket name is still bucket, so we go here, still bucket. Now all the objects are gone, right? So we'll go to this VS Code. What we will do, we'll upload the files with the updated script where we have the extracts. Okay, save the file and upload to S3. The file name is v2. See, it is updating with the format. We've just written the print statement here, that's the reason it's showing like this. Okay, now if you go here, just refresh. Now if you see the index.html format, see, this is what expected from the CloudFront. Okay, now if you go to the CloudFront distribution, it will take some time to show up. Okay, what we will do, we'll just go check here. See, now it read the files properly. This is the reason you need to upload the files with the correct format if you are using the CloudFront distribution. Okay, now what we will do, similarly, if you see the first project, we are also syncing the S3 bucket with the Python script. So basically what happens, the moment you change anything in the local computer, the same thing will be reflected in the S3. So the same whatever the files are there in the S3 will be reflected in the EC2 web server. So that was a project we did that was a logic we did in the first project. In this we are using the CloudFront. It is same here, but when you do some changes, let's say website source files, we have smartcave 29, right? SmartCave 29 we have. If I go and change here, now this I want to be uploaded automatically when I changed. It is not reflected in the S3 and it is not reflected in the CloudFront, right? For that reason, I have another script which I've already explained in the first project. So we are doing the same thing. Okay, we have just added the same function what we used in the before script to upload the files to the S3. We are just syncing. So if you want to understand how do we sync the moment we change everything, please watch the project one. So what I will do here, now I am using observers module. Basically it will observe the particular folder. The folder is website source files. The moment I change anything here, it will be updated in the S3. So let me run this script, Python sync with cache. So it is observing the directory, the local directory. So the moment I change anything, now if you see here, notice here, see it says uploaded index.html with the content type, the same content type what we used, the same function I have used here, and with the extra args attribute here is this, and there's a max age I've gave here, but we can also remove this, but that is optional, you just experiment on that. So now if you go to here, it is not doing, right? What for this purpose, what we need to do, we need to go to invalidation and create a invalidation manually. So I want to create cache invalidation for all the files, for example. So create invalidation is created and it is in progress. Now if you say the status is completed, if you go here and refresh it, it shows 30. So it is updated. You can also create automatic cache invalidations. That is not the scope here, but we will see that option in the future projects. Okay, this is how you serve the files from the S3 as the origin and using the CloudFront as a CDN.